Welcome back. This is Ed Fratz for another Just Fratz show. Tonight, I'm going to discuss a weekly wrap-up from the topics I talked about this past week and what I'll be talking about in the upcoming week. So in case you want to catch a couple of the shows this week, there might be some topics that might be interested for you and your company, or if you're a salesperson that you might want to capture. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the topics that happened that I chatted about this past week, in case you want to go back and see some of the videos I've done. Sunshine, welcome. Good to see you. So, and I'll discuss some of the things I've done on Instagram this past week and some of the things I did on here on YouTube, in case you want to see some of those videos that might have an interest for you. So that's what I'm calling it, the weekly wrap-up, but also the weekly kickoff. Plus, we'll talk a little bit about Palermo's, the best Italian bakery in Palm Beach County down here in South Florida. I'll talk about one of the products I have. It's pretty unique, and they're the only ones that sell this product, that if you're visiting South Florida or if you live in South Florida, you're going to want to go to Palermo's Bakery just to get this one item. So we got some cool things we'll talk about tonight. So let's kick it off. First of all, my New York Yankees baseball team right here. All right. They have won. They are on they just took a sweep. They did a sweep in San Francisco. They took 3 out of 4 in the California Angels. So they are hot, considering that 13 of their 25 players, or starting 25 players, are on the disabled list. So they're doing it with a bunch of minor league kids. So it's a lot of fun watching them. They won again today. They got an off day tomorrow. See how they do in Arizona. So things are hot in Yankee land. They're only a game and a half behind first place Tampa. So we're having fun there. So a couple things I talked about this week, in case you want to go back and check out some of the videos I've done. On Instagram, I do a 1-minute video a week, usually on a particular topic, and then sometimes I tie that topic into a YouTube topic. But this week I talked about dealing with change on one of the topics that I discussed. And there's a lot of people out there that work for companies, and things are changing left and right for them. They'll deal with changing of bosses, or their products that they were selling just a couple months ago is a totally different product line. Their companies could be bought and sold, and all these things are happening to them. And sometimes people, and thanks for that thumbs up, Sunshine. All these people that are going through these changes sometimes have a really tough time dealing with it. And there are moments that when changes happen, people just need to suck it up and move on. But that doesn't always work. And when these changes are rampant and quick, people have a harder time dealing with it. And these are good employees. And if they can't move on, they might be left behind, and the company might make changes with them. So a lot of companies out there today, they do have opportunities for them to talk to a company therapist. And I strongly recommend, if there's a therapist that works for your company, that might be an opportunity for you to reach out to them to help you get through these tough times of all these changes. And then sometimes it can be simple as just reading a book. And one book I strongly recommend is Who Moved My Cheese? And you'd be amazed. You'll read the book in less than an hour and a half. It even has pictures. And I strongly recommend to read that book if you're dealing with changes. That book might help you get through it and have you look at it a little bit differently. Another thing I talked about on Instagram this week was the toxic waste dump, okay, that exists in businesses. And this waste dump is an individual that I discussed. And this individual is a person who's constantly complaining. It's constantly complaining about the people they work with or the product they sell. It can be they're complaining about their bosses. They're complaining about the weather. You name it, they complain about anything. And sometimes they're good employees, but they don't stop complaining. But this toxic energy that they need comes from good people. They need good people to be brought in for them to start listening to them. And they strongly recommend that you avoid them. But sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes they're your friends. So you got to avoid these people. This toxic energy that they require is good people. They want to listen. They want you to listen. And all of a sudden, over a period of time, you might start complaining, something you've never done before. And then they've got you sucked into their dump. And then it'll start spreading even more. So be careful of that. So that's something I discussed this week on YouTube. Right here, I did a show about interview questions and how owners and sales managers need to be prepared with great questions to hire the right people for their company. And I went through my 5 top interview questions that I recommended. I think that video is about 20 minutes long, and you'd be surprised. Those interview questions are going to really weed out some bad people that might not been meant for your company. So you want to make sure that you don't make the wrong hire. A wrong hire could destroy your sales team or could destroy your sales for the year. And what I mean by that, if you hire the wrong person, a lot of companies give this person 3 months, 4 months of ramp up. And then at the end of 3-4 months, the person's really not producing. And then you have to give them a verbal warning. Then they have another bad month. You have to give them their first write-up, then a second write-up. Then you get to fire them. And that was about 8 months down the road. Now you got to hire someone else. And that slot that you had for how much production you were expecting has been totally wasted for the year. And the only way you can make that up is hopefully your other salespeople are overachieving to make up that slot. And it's not really a good business model to follow. So hiring the right people is very important. And it starts with the questions that you ask. So I'm not going to repeat all those questions. I give you one that I did talk about on the show that it's one of my favorites when I've interviewed people. And I always ask someone, tell me about the first job and how old you were that you ever had. And I'm not really worried about what the job was. I'm looking for how old they were. If their first job was at the age of 22 when they got out of college, I'm probably not going to hire that person. And people say, Ed, you might miss a good candidate. Yep, you're right. But I'm not going to take a chance. It's, let someone else hire that person. I need to make sure I get the closest thing to a guarantee. So I'll never forget, I asked one person this question. He was from Boston. He was interviewing for a B2B sales position. And he told me his first job that he ever had, his family was in a bad way. Mom was working 3 jobs. Dad was hurt. And he, at a very young age, 13, 14 years old, after school, he went down to the fishing docks to unload the boats after school in Boston. And he did that every year till he graduated high school. And every single penny that he got from that part-time after-school job, he gave to his family. Needless to say, I hired this person on the spot. He had a job offer in his hands before he hit the elevator. And he ended up being one of the top salespeople in the company. And I was able to tell by his work ethic, just by that one simple question. So I had 5 questions I talked about in that video. So if you want to go back, check it out. The interview questions that the Godfather asks in an interview. It's something that you might want to get a pen and paper out and write down some of them that you will be able to figure out some people that you probably wouldn't want to hire. And the other topic I was really talking about this week was making sure we always want to make sure our candidates that are being interviewed are prepared, but I also look. The sales managers and the owners need to be prepared who are interviewing these people, and just winging it and not studying their resumes, not having prepared questions. I've seen managers just walk into an interview 2 minutes late and they haven't read the resume yet, and they sit down and do an interview, and we expect the candidate to be prepared. Well, the sales manager should be equally prepared, or the owner should be equally prepared on who they're, and just to wing it is really doing an injustice to the candidate who's sitting in front of you, who might desperately need a job, who might be an awesome hire, and you screwed up because you weren't prepared. So those were the topics I talked about this week. If go back to, like Instagram and also on my YouTube, feel free to reach out to me if you have questions regarding that. You could always email me at ed@fratzed, FRATZED.com. Shoot me an email if you'd like to discuss this in further detail. I'd love to chat with you. This week, I got some great stuff coming up that I'll be doing between Instagram and a couple of shows I'm going to do here on YouTube. One of the first things this week I'm going to talk about is this different types of prospecting, this 4-spoke approach. And for B2B sales reps and business owners who are looking to find customers and set up appointments with clients, I'm going to talk about the different approaches on how to find these appointments, how to come in such a professional way. Katrina, welcome. Thank you for joining. So this week I'll be talking about the 4 different approaches on. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. That means a lot. The different approaches for salespeople and business owners. If you're looking to find new, the Yankees are hot right now, and I wear my Yankee hat year round. But right now, I'm wearing it with a lot of pride. So we're rocking and rolling right now. So if you're looking to, if you struggle with making appointments with new business owners or decision makers, if your salespeople out there are struggling, this week is going to be a big week because we're going to talk about the 4 different approaches to make appointments. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about people go, Ed, when I make phone calls, well, you're in the right place, Katrina, because I talk about baseball, beer, food, and business. Basically, that's those are my major topics. So and then when I wrap this up, Katrina, we're going to talk about the best bakery in South Florida that you get to go to and get this unique product that you can't find any place else except in Palm Beach County. So Nabul, thank you. Go Yankees. We had a big weekend in Nabul. I'm not sure if you're following the win-loss, but we've won 10 out of 12 games. We're hot. We won 3 in a row in San Francisco, so we are having a blast for us Yankee fans, considering half the team is hurt on the injured reserve. So we got all these young kids that came up, and they're still winning. So it's been a lot of fun. So back to this week, I'm going to talk about the different types on how to make appointments and what to say to customers on the phone on how to make those appointments. So many people sound like telemarketers when they making phone calls, and I will teach you this week on the ingredients on what to say when you call that you don't sound like a telemarketer, and also on how to bring value to the call. It turns my stomach when I hear business owners and managers tell their salespeople, go make calls and make sure you bring business to the call. And the good employees they go, okie dokie, boss, I'll go make my calls, but they don't know how to bring value to the call. They've never been taught. Well, this week I will teach you on how to bring value to the call when I do my next show. It'll all be about prospecting and making appointments. Absolutely, Katrina. This is that's my world. Just so you know, Katrina, my background. I've been in sales. I'm afraid to tell you the age of me, but I've been selling since the early 80s. Okay, so I have about 35 years of sales experience. Um, yes, I'm on the older side, but what I've done very well is making sure that I've been a sales trainer for the last 10 years, but my training also changes with the times. So I've done a pretty good job making sure that how people are doing business today is not how, I don't train with how people did business since the 80s. Okay. So, I'd be more than happy to chat with you offline on any topic you like regarding growing your business. Nabul, I know when you get those telemarketers, what's the best way to connect offline? Shoot me an email, Katrina, ed@fratzt.com. Okay. ed@fratzt, FRATZED.com. Shoot me an email. I'll reply back to you with my phone number. My phone number, I give it out. All right. That's my business line. It's no big deal on who has it. All right. There you go. All right. ed@fratzt.com. It's shoot, and that's my business. And you shoot me an email, and what time is a good time to talk? I'll give you my voicemail. I'll give you my phone number, and I'll be glad to chat with you. As far as the telemarketers in the bowl, it drives me crazy. They're given a piece of paper to read off of. You could tell when they're reading, because I like to interrupt them. I accept all Nabul, I know I'm a little weird when I tell you this. I accept all telemarketer calls, all of them, because I try to help fix them when they're on the call. Now, I don't buy from them, but I will tell them to give them some pointers on how they can fix things. So I'm a big fan of helping people when I can. And when they're reading to me, I feel so bad for them that they're doing a job. They got to get paid. But I wish somebody would teach them the right way of talking to a person on the phone to bring value about their product instead of just reading a bunch of useless facts and asking you a bunch of useless questions. And that's why there's a negative stigma about telemarketers. But if they would talk to you and bring value to the call, you'd listen a lot more. So, yes, Katrina, I'll be looking forward to your email. Katrina, where are you located? Are you on the West Coast? I saw a picture the other night. It looked like you had palm trees in the backyard. So I was wondering if you're out there in California or are you in Florida? I didn't know what time zone you were in. I was listening to you. I didn't jump in. I was watching your replay. As far as this week goes, I'm also going to teach people, or talk about people, on how they could become world famous in what they do. Now, meaning world famous, I'm going to be talking about your world and how you could raise the bar to be the best at what you do in your industry. And it's amazing how people just go for average, just to be average, and they're mixed in with everyone else. And you're wondering why am I not making a lot of money, or why am I going out of business? Why am I struggling? And I might give you some great ideas on how to raise the bar to stand out amongst your competition. So hopefully I'll be able to bring some ideas for business owners to improve their business, to be a little, and I'll give you some great examples of companies that have become famous because of how they treat their customers. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, this last topic, that's this week. That's what's coming this week. Hopefully, I'll be able to see you folks to join in, and we'll have a great week between Instagram and between YouTube. But Palermo's Bakery is my last thing I want to talk about. Then that'll be it for tonight. Palermo's is a Italian bakery that's authentic. You think they've picked up from New York City and moved down here. And the bread is awesome. If you're from Florida and you're from the north and from New York, it is tough to find good Italian bread. It's very soft. You lose the crunch. You can't find a good hard roll. You can't find a good Italian bed. But at Palermo's, you're getting the real deal. All right. And it's right here in Boynton Beach, Florida. It's just, you walk in and it's just the baked goods. They got, all right, here we go, Nabul. You want to talk about, they got great cannolis. But then they've taken a dessert and raised the bar on this one, and they call it the Tony Soprano. Now, the mother on the TV show, the mother that played Tony Soprano's mom, lives down here in Florida. And she would go into this bakery. Well, she one day called up the bakery and said, hey, can you send some fancy desserts up to New Jersey on the set? So she made this unique dessert called the Tony Soprano. And it's like a twist donut. And it's sugared on the outside. But in the bowl, they stuff it with cannoli filling. And it's something that you're only going to find at Palermo's. And it's called the Tony Soprano. You only could get it on Saturdays between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And everybody knows it. They can't wait to get in there and get it. It's something totally unique. And it was actually the only time you were able to get it at one time if you were working on the set of The Sopranos. And then they started selling it on Saturdays. And it was such a hot item. I guess it takes a little time to make it, so that's why they only do it once a week. But the first time I had it was someone brought it over to my house. So I had to go in there. I said, hey, you got any Tony Sopranos? They go, we only make it on Saturdays. So then a couple weeks later, I went back on a Saturday to get it. And they go, oh, they're going by 1:30, 2 o'clock. You got to get in here earlier. So a couple Saturdays later, I went back in and went in there at 9 o'clock. They go, oh, you're too early. You got to get in here between 11 and 1:30. And they felt so bad for me. The following Saturday, I went in and they had 6 Tony Sopranos waiting for me. And they gave them to me at no charge because they saw how frustrated I was trying to get them. So their customer service is awesome. The dessert is all their Italian cookies and pastries and breads are just out of this world. But this Tony Soprano dessert is something you'll never get except at Palermo's in South Florida. So that's my wrap. That's what happened this past week. What we're going to talk about this week. Hopefully you like what you heard for my replay viewers. And Nabul, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And one other thing, Nabul, that was awesome today. I saw the replay of what you did with showing the jet skis. Man, that was fun watching that. It looked like you had a great day today. I really enjoyed watching that. That looked fun. So that's all I have for tonight. I look forward to talking to everyone this week. Have a great evening. Nabul, thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll be chatting this week sometime. Take care.